With just a few days left in the season, a few games away from the playoffs starting, the Denver Nuggets have fired Mike Malone. This came as a surprise. I just got home and saw this like 2 or 3 minutes ago, but the Nuggets, who are fourth in the West, already clinched the postseason spot, 47-32, a game and a half back from the third seed, have just fired Mike Malone. Now, the Nuggets have lost 4 in a row, but Jamal Murray's been injured. He has not been there all of the season, and still has not came back yet. It was reports that he was supposed to come back during the Pacers game, which they ended up losing as well. But yeah, that came as a shock to me. Let's look at Mike Malone's coaching record. Started during 2013. He has a record of 463 and 362. Pretty solid record. His first year coaching was, but this is coaching record. His first 2 seasons coaching was in 2013 and 2014 with the Kings. Then he eventually got hired by the Denver Nuggets, and then he led them to a 33-49 record his first year. And then he continued to improve with wins. 40-42 the next season, 46-36, 54-28. Like, the win stats, they continued to improve, and then he stayed around that 47-46 win mark. Those usually, at that point, it became the lowest, like, through his tenure as the Nuggets coach. 46 wins in 2020, they got to the Western Conference Finals. The furthest they had got in the playoffs under Mike Malone, ended up losing to the Lakers, who were the better team, so it's no fault in losing that series. And that was the bubble year. He had a really good season that year. Then following that, 2021, won 47 games, won more. Well, that was following the bubble season, but he won. Well, he didn't win Coach of the Year, but he had a good season. They had injuries that year as well. I think MPJ and Jamal Murray was injured, and this year that Jokic won MVP, another good season. Then he went 48-34 in 2022. I think that's the year that they lost to the Warriors. Then after that, in 2023, they would end up winning the NBA championship, going 53-29. That was a great season by them. Jokic won multiple MVPs under Mike Malone. And this seems just like Jamal Murray. We're seeing him step up in the playoffs. And like, the further you get in the playoff history, like his first playoffs, went 7 games against the Spurs, which he ended up losing. And it's no shame in getting out-coached by Greg Popovich. That 2020 season, like I said, they ended up getting to the Western Conference Finals. They did lose in 5 games, but it was still impressive for them to get there. And some of those games were competitive against the Lakers. One of those took an Anthony Davis game winner for the Lakers to escape one of those games. In 2021, lost in the second round, I believe. They lost in the first round in 2022, but he's led them to multiple deep playoff runs. In 2022-2023 season, they won the championship, like I said. Then last year, 2024, they end up losing to the Timberwolves. Yeah, in the second round. And the Timberwolves just had the deeper team. And I don't think, like, the Nuggets not being able to get to the conference finals, I don't blame it on Mike Malone. I blame it on Denver's general manager. And because that team, they've lost depth each year. And as far as Mike Malone, like, Coach of the Year, he's never won a Coach of the Year, but he's finished top 5 numerous times. He's finished in the top 10 consistently. In 2018-19, finished 3rd. 2020 finished 8th. In 2021, finished 7th. 2022, he finished 5th. And last year, he finished 9th. So he's consistently been in the top 10 when it came down to Coach of the Year, because he always has the Nuggets at the top of the Western Conference, despite their depth getting weaker each and every year. And it's not no fault of his own, but because of the new tax rules and stuff, they aren't able to keep some of those key players like a KCP that was important to that team and what he was able to provide for them. I'm trying to see who else they lost in free agency, because there was a few other players. I don't think they have Will Barton anymore. I think he was part of that championship team. I can look at the rosters to see who was all on that Nuggets championship team, because, yeah, KCP, Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, all those players ended up leaving, not at the same time, but over the course, because they just got too expensive for the Nuggets to keep, and they're afraid to go over the luxury tax, which that new luxury tax rule that hurts teams like this who are built naturally through trades. They didn't get no crazy free agency signings. Like, this is a really well-built team, and it's well-structured. And obviously, free agents went where they want to. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just saying, the luxury tax rules hurt teams like this who did build their team to the draft, because then at a point, it's where, like, certain guys are too expensive. Like, they're going to have to make a decision about MPJ and Aaron Gordon. Because obviously, you're keeping Jokic. He's one of the top 3 players in the world right now, consistently in the MVP race. And obviously you're going to keep Jamal Murray, who's shown to be one of the best playoff riders in the NBA today. And then it comes down to MPJ and Aaron Gordon. Like, who do you want to keep? And I would keep Aaron Gordon just because I don't think you can really replace that. Now, I think they're both hard to replace, but MPJ is injury prone. And so I think, and the best ability is availability. And we know Aaron Gordon is more available than Michael Porter Jr. And they're both great players. If I was the Nuggets, I would go over their luxury tax to keep both of them. But then that hurts their depth. Because KCP, like Jeff Green, him going to the Rockets, being there the last few years, we done seen how much that's helped the Rockets. They nearly made the play-in last year. They were a few games away. Now they're going to make the playoffs this season, and likely finish as the second seed this year. We've seen what KCP was able to add to that team, his three-point shooting. Everywhere he's been, he's added that three-point shooting and played some solid defense. Like, when he was on the Lakers, I enjoyed having KCP. I was upset that we let KCP, that we traded him away. I forget if he walked or we traded him, but I wanted us to keep KCP, and then he added to the Nuggets. And then it was somebody else. Oh, Bruce Brown, his defense, being the great defender he is, like after that season, and then him going to the Nets, it made sense for him because look at all the money he's getting. Why wouldn't he make this decision? He already got his ring, and he was a key player on a championship team. Like, it's really nothing more you can ask for. Then he got a bag somewhere else, and he'll probably be one of those guys who gets bounced around, and he'll end back up on the championship team because of his defense, because teams know what he can do. But this decision to fire Mike Malone now, like, they're 47-32, so that's 79 and 3 games left in the season, and you fire him. Like, I know they're on a 4-game losing streak, but look at their overtime record. They've been in 6 overtime games this year, and they're 5-1. That might be the best record of any team as far as overtime goes. The Knicks are 6-1. Man, there've been a lot of overtime games. But that's one of the top records in overtime to play that many. And you could say that's a bad thing going to that many overtimes, but having that record is still impressive. They're 3-7 in their last 10, yes, but like I said, Jamal Murray has been injured. He hasn't played every game this season, so I'm kind of confused on why they fired him now. Like, this just feels like a bad time to do it. Even, obviously, he had to play with Russell Westbrook, and that's not on Mike Malone, that's on Russ. But Jamal Murray, he's played 65 games, so he could still qualify for some awards. He probably won't win any, but he could still qualify because he met the games required, but he hasn't been available for every game. So it's like, and he's been having a good season too, so it's like, I really don't get it. Like, you're still at the top of the Western Conference right now. You still will have home court if you play at the Clippers if the playoffs started today. So this decision to fire Mike Malone, it came at a bad time, and it's gonna hurt them in these last 3 games. Like, they done lost 3 in a row. I'm gonna look at their schedule because they done lost 4 in a row. They play the Kings, They play the Kings tomorrow, who are fighting to stay in the postseason, and they're 1 win away from reaching 500. They play the Grizzlies, who also made a terrible decision in firing Taylor Jenkins, and the Grizzlies they could win that game, especially if Ja continues to play how he's been playing recently. Then they play Houston. If Houston has the second seed wrapped up by then, they might rest their players, but knowing Ime Udoka, he probably won't, because he wants his guys to be ready for the postseason, and this is going to be a good test for them. The Nuggets could realistically lose all 3 of those games, and they could fall in the standings. Like, they could fall to the play-in if they lose all 3 of those games and finish at 47 wins. Because if the Clippers, Warriors, and Timberwolves, if they don't play each other and they reach 48, then they can drop the Nuggets to the play-in. And I'm going to look at the Timberwolves. I'm going to look at their schedules, too. The Clippers, they play the Spurs tonight. They play the Rockets, play the Kings, and play the Warriors. So they just need 2 wins to get to 48. If they just win 2 of those games, they're at 48. And this is assuming that the Nuggets lose all 3 of theirs. All 3 of their last games. Let's look at the Warriors schedule. Huh? They got 4 games left. Phoenix, Spurs, Portland, and the Clippers. They just need 2 of those games to move up to the playoffs. If these tiebreakers hold. Then the Timberwolves, they're at 46 as well. They have 4 games. They play the Bucks, Memphis, Brooklyn, and Utah. They can win 3 of those games and jump up. Like, they could be at 49 wins. But let's just say they win 2. They would all be at 48, and they would move up. If Denver lost their last 3 games, they'd move them down to 7. But let's look at the Grizzlies. If the Grizzlies, they play the Hornets, Timberwolves, Nuggets, and Dallas, they just need 2 wins. And this is just saying that Denver loses all 3 of their final games, which is a real possibility. And these other teams, the Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, and Grizzlies, they just have to go 2-2 in their 4 games to move up, and they would drop Denver all the way down to 8, potentially in the play-in. Now, with their talent, I don't think that's likely, but it is realistic because now you're bringing in a new coach, and the final stretch of the season, like this, these last 3 games are the most important because you're fighting to stay in the playoffs. Like, you don't want to move down to the play-in and potentially miss the playoffs because you play a freaking hot Kings team. Like, you lose, let's say the Nuggets and Grizzlies match up in the play-in and the Grizzlies win, you get a second chance, but maybe Zach LaVine go off and then Denver is out the playoffs. Like, that is a real possibility. And I don't, like, this video would not be happening if Mike Malone did not get fired. Mike Malone is a great coach. It's been some ups and downs, but that comes with every coach. That comes with every season. Like, you hit a rough patch at certain points, like OKC's lost 2 in a row. They still have 64 wins. The Cavs, they done had multiple losing streaks this season. The Celtics, they've lost multiple games in a row, but all these teams are fine. The Celtics are 3-2 in overtime, but they're still fine. The Knicks, they have 50 wins. They're going to finish as the 3rd seed. They're still fine. The Lakers, they obviously hiring a new coach, so JJ Redick got to get a full season. But you don't see the Clippers firing Tyronn Lue because they had rough stretches in the season when you know they had injuries. They 3 games under 500 on the road, but it's Tyronn Lue at the end of the day. You know he a good coach. You know if Kawhi and Norman Powell is healthy at the same time, that team is better. Especially the way that Norman Powell was playing. Like when Kawhi came back, it was unfortunate that Norman Powell had an injury. So Denver making this move, they're going to regret this. Because it's a really dumb move to make this close to the playoffs. Because he's a good coach. And he's led them to deep runs multiple times. And them losing those 3 players I named earlier, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, KCP, 3 of the most important pieces to those championship teams. Because you're not winning with just star power. You need good role players. And that's what they were. And management allowed them to lose them. It wasn't Mike Malone. He's not the one making the decisions. He's the one coaching the team. He might have a little say. He probably wanted to keep those guys. But they didn't want to go over the luxury tax. And that's kind of on the NBA because it hurts teams like that are built really well and built. It's not like you're trying to, like the Nuggets have never been a super team, so it hurts a team like that. But at the end of the day, you could go over the luxury tax to make that move happen. But back to the video. Kind of forgot where I was at because I got distracted. But the Nuggets are going to regret this decision. Like them firing Mike Malone doesn't make sense. It's a really bad decision. So I really don't understand it. Like Denver could fall. Like if they lose those last 3 games, they could very well be in the play-in if those other teams just go 2-2 in their last 4. Because all of them have the advantage. They play tonight, so their win is going to mean a lot. Because I don't think any of their games against each other are tonight. Because if you do play against each other, the 4 teams I named, but if they don't play any of those other teams tonight that I named, and they all win, they all be at 47-32 tied with Denver. And they could easily fall. This is a bad decision, one of the worst decisions I've seen. The Grizzlies firing Taylor Jenkins was bad as well. They had 1 or 2 in a row, and like I said, the Nuggets do have the talent, but them not keeping those role players, the Nuggets not going into the luxury tax to keep some of them, they're going to regret that. They got a decision to make with MPJ and Aaron Gordon, because you probably won't keep both of them. That's just with the way the luxury tax set up now, it probably just won't happen. But firing coaches this close to the playoffs, I don't really get it. This trend that's going on, I guess Luka going to the Lakers really shook up the NBA. Like when you think about it, like you don't expect to move like that. And that's what happens when a basketball organization is owned by people that don't know nothing about basketball. Like that's still one of the dumbest decisions the Mavericks have ever made. One of the dumbest decisions in NBA history by a franchise. And then you have teams firing coaches days before the playoffs. Like these teams are bound to, like the Grizzlies and Nuggets, they're bound to be a first-round exit, losing the play-in type team because you made such idiotic moves just close to the end of the season. But leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think of the firing of Mike Malone. So as soon as I was going to upload the video talking about Mike Malone getting fired, I seen a report that the Nuggets have also fired their general manager, Calvin Booth. Now, him getting fired, I understand. Like, and as you see, I talked about KCP, Jeff Green, and Bruce Brown, and him losing them, and him being afraid to go into that luxury tax. So Calvin Booth being fired makes a lot of sense. But Mike Malone, I still don't get, because Mike Malone is a great coach. And this close to the playoffs, like even firing the GM, like I get it, because he hasn't made good decisions over the last few years. Christian Braun is a good pickup. He's a very underrated player. But over the last few years, he hasn't done much of He hasn't done really anything positive in terms of keeping players and him being afraid to go into the luxury tax. But this is a bad time to make moves. So moves like this, you got to make after the playoffs. Like, you want to fire Calvin Booth, wait till after the season is done, because now it's probably turmoil and tension between management, players, everywhere around. Like, I'm not saying he should have kept his job, because I understand him being fired, Calvin Booth, as far as that goes. So it's like, I completely understand that, and I agree with it. But I don't think this is the time to make the moves this close to the end of the season. I think they should have waited till the season ended to do that. I mean, you get an early start to find out who your next GM is, I guess. But, man, it's going to be a rough final few days for the Denver Nuggets as they get ready for the playoffs. But like I said, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what y'all think of the Nuggets firing Calvin Booth and Mike Malone.